Well, hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite Writ Ralph talking to you straight from our show. Well, it's not a
Ralph,
show today.
Ralph,
Today
Ralph,
is Kickstarter. What?
Ralph,
What?
Ralph. Let me save you right here because you had yourself muted and hidden their volume.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. So let's play it again.
You're welcome. I'm saving you right here.
Thank you. I
Let's play
appreciate
it again, Sam.
That's right.
You know, that's how detective work is, isn't it, folks?
That's right.
Trying to survive in a world of urban crime is a task I would rather not have to deal with. As a private investigator, you make plenty of enemies along the way. After my brother Dalton was killed, I've come under attack. And to make matters worse, they're going after Triff. And I'll do whatever it takes to keep her safe. Crime syndicate has a head. I have to find out his identity before it's too late.
So thank you, Mr. Nat. Now that we've seen the trailer, I gotta say, I was looking at the trailer. Besides the fact that my voiceover hits differently this time around, I feel like the whole video just has a different feel to it. I feel like book 3 has a different feel to it from just watching the trailers of the video. Were you trying to bring that across?
Yes, I was. When I was writing the book and plotting out the stories, I said, issue 1, I got to set it up. But it kind of starts in kind of like the middle of the story. There is a backstory there, but issue 2 continues, the adventure into, sort of a cliffhanger at the end of 1. It continues that. But in 3, I wanted it to be a really action-packed book. With detective stories, you got a lot of walking around, investigating. I'm not saying they're boring books, but they have a different feel to the first 2. There's action, of course, but number 3, I wanted it to be more a little bit of both, but more heavier on the action, which may seem different with the way the trailer was. But if you look at the visuals in the trailer, the explosions and all that, that's kind of giving you a little tip there.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Even with the trailer being a little bit more laid back and a little bit more relaxed, you still get this feeling, that especially with the explosion and all that stuff, that there's way more happening in issue 3.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, like I said, I don't think that issue 1 and 2 are boring, but you're writing a detective novel or you're writing a detective story, and usually what happens is you do a lot of setup in 1 and 2, and a lot of legwork, a lot of running around, and then of course we hit that nice little spike and all hell breaks loose.
Exactly. So I want it to be a real punch, as far as right in the middle of the story, because it's a 5-issue story arc. So we're right in the middle, but we got a lot more stuff to come up, a lot more exciting things we're gonna find out and be revealed in issue number 3, and then also 4 and 5. But we'll talk a little more about 5, but 3, it's just got a lot of action. It's got a lot of punch, a lot of impact. It also furthers the characters, the characterization, which I think is important. If you have a graphic novel, a comic book series, you want to develop the characters along the way, show different aspects of who they are, not just focus on this guy's a detective and he's got to go find out information and then we're gonna have a gunfight or something. There's got to be more to it, and they're definitely I'm trying to work that aspect, that angle, to have more characterization, to get a little more information, which adds interest to it, which you're gonna love. I think you're gonna love it. So that's really my feel to it. I took a little more time with issue 3. Issue 1 came out like right at the end of 22.
Right.
The books came out in print like January. Then the second book Kickstarter was in May of the 23, which is like 6 months later.
Mm-hmm.
The books were delivered in July. You know, now here it is April, so I took a little more time. I took a couple more months, you know, just to try to up my game.
You're still doing pretty good because that's still one issue a year.
Yeah, it is. It's just one a year. You know, I don't think I could do 2 full issues in a year, but you know, I might can do I might can get a good knock on the 4th book by the end of this year.
But the good thing is, and I know from the last couple of books that you're already working on the next book. You already have art for the next book. Because I remember like the last Kickstarter was finished, and you were like, "Hey, Ralph, look at this." I'm like, "Damn, we're already going."
Yeah, so it's just a continuation. It's just it's a process. Writing, for instance. I don't necessarily consider myself a book writer, but at the same time, I'm a cartoonist. And what cartoonists do is they tell stories, and they use pictures and words. So if you go back to the great Stan Drake that did The Heart of Juliet Jones back in the 50s, he was a cartoonist. It was a strip, and he did he was the writer, he was the artist, of course, but he was a cartoonist. He just melded those two things together.
Oh, here's a question for you. If this was a comic strip, how would you have scheduled it differently? How would it be different?
Well, it would definitely be more challenging because you only have 3 to 4 panels.
Yeah.
In each strip, so you got to say, well, I got this scene here. I can only use 3 panels, and how am I going to start it and end it, but yet it still has continuity? To me, that would be harder to do because, you have to map that stuff out where it has the right information at the right, you're trying to tell a story within those 3 or 4 panels.
I've always been so interested in the fact of comic strips because, comics alone are hard to nail down and figure out how you're going to do them. But a comic strip, like you're saying, is like 4 panels. It's like 4 panels. If you're lucky, maybe you get 5 or 6.
Yeah, exactly. I have seen, they'll scrunch some narrower panels in just to get, more information in there. Sometimes that works great. Depends on, it might be what you want in a comic strip. But in a comic book format like this, I think it's just a better, more wide open format.
Oh, definitely. I completely agree with you.
I got larger panels. I can use the whole page if I want, and show something like an explosion, like that car on the cover there we were talking about.
Beautiful, man. He did a great job with that, and I'm going to show it off. Let's go find it.
Yeah, the inker, I penciled the cover, but it was Joe Rubenstein that inked the cover for me, and he's just an amazing artist. He's really an artist of he can paint you a portrait that's just out of this world. He can do comic art, which we all know he's legendary.
There it goes.
And he inked that for me, and it's my pencil, so may not be the strongest composition in the world, but
I don't know. It's really stunning, and I didn't until you told me. I didn't know you were the one that did it.
Mm-hmm.
So that says a lot too, because I thought I knew your style, and this didn't feel like it.
Yeah, well, as far as the car where it's coming apart, I didn't want to just have light flashing. I want to say, if a car was blowing up, what would you have? You'd have shocks coming out of it. You'd have springs, bolts, control arms, all these parts coming out of this thing and coming off of it. So it's like, let's throw that stuff in there.
Yeah, you did a great job with it. It's really stunning. It really stands out. And you got some great covers, but I really think this one is my favorite.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I told Joseph when it came back from the colorist, we used his colorist, Alina Vargas, and she colored it. And when it came back, I said, Joseph, I think this might be my best cover. And he said, Charles, you haven't done your best cover yet.
He's right. Yeah, because that's how it is. I know you're very happy with it, but I don't think you've done your best cover yet. Because like I said, you already surprised me with this. So now I'm like, what else can you do?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna keep upping the ante on this thing.
Tate says very very
Thank you.
dynamic. The tilt gives it a good motion. I agree with him. It
Thank
does
you.
feel like this thing is moving. The explosion feels like it's propelling this thing forward. That explosion looks mega.
Yeah, so I want to put that tilt in there. I think that makes the whole thing, because if it weren't tilted, it wouldn't have the feel like it's
Yeah.
airborne, you know, like something moved it. So that's how you get the motion, is by tilting the car.
I
Yeah.
gotta say, yeah, I think if I would have done this, if I was any kind of artist, I probably would have been, yeah, just put it forward.
Yeah, I mean, I played with it a little bit, turning it. Of course, I always sketch everything out on small pieces of paper first, just to kind of see how stuff will look.
Mhm.
But this one, I sort of visualized it mainly. I still sketched it out just to make sure, but I visualized that. I was like, this thing will look pretty good if it's tilted a certain way and parts coming out from under it, just to give it a little more dynamic. But yeah, I appreciate it, Tate. Thank you.
Dude, yeah, and I can tell you already, like, you can see that it's already like, oh wow. and it's funny because, like I said, it's not like the other covers are me and you were talking about this right before in the green room before. This one like is stunning as well. The fact that she's pulling out her hand to save him, it just says something about what's happening in this issue. And if you
Yeah.
saw both covers, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's what I was trying to do, just set up some covers that would kind of tell or hint at what's going on in the issue at the most, maybe you call it tragic times in the, with the most dynamics. I wanted to show the car. I wanted to show, what might be happening after the explosion, like maybe they survived it or something.
Right.
But I don't want to say too much, but I wanted to put some artwork in here, some rendering, which I think I do have some pretty decent rendering in this. It's not, it's not perfect, but
this cover is drama full, man.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what the hell's going on.
Yeah, so I try to put some detail work. Of course, Jesse Higgy is my main colorist. He's just amazing on these covers that he does for me.
I gotta say, your colors really help your covers.
Yeah, they really do. They really do, because it just adds that extra thing to it. I've been thinking about doing, like, if we could raise enough money, I was thinking like do a full color interior book as an option at some point. I would love to do it.
What you could probably do, to make it different, is when you finally collect all these books together, is make it a color version.
There you go. That's a great idea.
That'll give incentive to the people that bought the book to go, I want the color now.
Yeah, well, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's a great idea, Ralph. I mean, I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, how would I do it? Maybe if we had enough, our pledge goals got high enough, maybe I offer it as like a stretch like if we hit $5,000, we'll do it, or if we hit $3,000, we'll do it, and then you can choose what you want or whatever.
You got to give the incentive for people. Go, I want to see this.
Right. Yeah. So I've really been considering that, because I really like the way his covers turn out, and I'm like, man, if the whole book was that way, it wouldn't necessarily.
I've read the book and I've seen the black and white inside. I do believe like what you're saying, because this really stands out, and this looks like a scene from inside the book.
Yeah. So the reason for the black and white is I wanted to have the crime noir.
I know what you did, and I totally agree for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just trying to say, well, as an option, some people just like color, so that may be something they would want, and I would really like to give it to you, but it's just it's something that we'd definitely look at, especially on the trade. If we do a trade paperback, we can definitely have the option. Exactly.
And I'm telling you, these covers, like you've actually picked some interesting ways to show off the book.
Yeah, this is more of your, your basic crime noir cover pose, which I kind of like having that. It's a classic pose, Of course, now her hairdo is not classic. That's sort of, you wouldn't probably see that in a book from the 50s, right?
You might, depending on the people you're actually dealing with.
Of course, this story takes place in modern Manhattan in
I
today's
love, like
time.
I've said before when we discussed this, I love the combination. I love the fact that you give it this feel like it's in the 50s, but it's in modern times.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I like. I like to give it that, and just to give it a classic feel, and I always love to read, uh, the old black and white crime noir comic strips, and of course, Miller had a book series out one time that was black and white, and I
Sin
really
City,
enjoyed it too.
Sin City, love Sin City, love the movie.
Yeah, I love the dynamic artwork, the way he could do shadows and light. And speaking of shadows and light, Mort Meskin is a big influence on me as far as how I'm learning to do the black and white noir style of work. He was just a brilliant artist. He was back in the Jack Kirby days, back in the young Jack Kirby days. So he was really respected by all the masters, the master artists that we know of today.
This is just stunning. This is beautiful.
Yeah, that was done by Francesco. I'm trying to make sure I pronounce his last name right. It's Tomaselli, I think.
Tomaselli, yeah.
Yeah, he had a Spawn cover out last month. Spawn. He does work for Image and Marvel, DC, and some of those guys, and he's very good. He knocked this out pretty quick for me. I mean, it was amazing. I just kind of told him what I wanted and sent him some reference, and yeah, he done a great job on that. Beautiful.
It is. It's just breathtaking. You know what it reminds me of? The book covers for the crime noir books.
Yeah. The old novels and stuff like that, where they had the painted covers and stuff. Yes, I wanted something totally different from what we normally do, and that's that. I'm glad I went with them, because it just gives it a different look, a different feel from what we've done. And I think with variant covers, that's what you want. You want something.
Well,
with some variety.
We just showed 3 different covers, and you got 3 different feelings from those 3 different covers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a totally different style here. So art style.
Yeah, so, and you can feel it, like and it's funny because I know you did what you did what 2, 3 of the 4 covers, 3, 5 covers.
Yeah, four this time,
right.
And yeah, we did 5 last time. Yeah, I did 3 out of the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I had
those 3 have a different feeling to them, so that says a lot.
Yeah. So that's what I was purposely trying to do, is just kind of create a different feeling on each cover, something that's different on each one. And then with this one, I want it to be more of a total different art style, because even though Joe inked the other book, it's totally different than this, So
right.
Just a whole different thing.
And I think that's why that one gets such a different feel to it. But at the same time, you did all 3 covers, and all 3 of them just have a different feel.
Well, I can't wait to see this one in print, to be honest with you. All of them, but especially this one. With it being a crime noir style book with this type of cover, I think it'll just be a really good throwback.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, this looks like a jacket cover to the book.
Yeah. So we got Rob Powers. He does all my logos, my covers.
Oh, Rob's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. He sets up the graphics. He formats my books and does a tremendous job. So it's all quality guys working on the book. You got me, of course, and then you got these other guys that are just top notch in what they do. The graphics were made by my letterer, Jason Metis.
Right.
So he does more than just letter books. He can do graphics too. So they do a good job with that stuff. And of course, Phil Russert, he's just been a huge help to me, and I'm really thankful, for all the help. He's just come alongside me, and he just kind of been a kind of like a mentor, and he helps me. He sets these pages up for me. I mean, I couldn't do these pages. It's just a lot. He's like, give me this by this time. And I'm like, oh man, I start sweating then. Like, oh man, I gotta get this stuff done and get it to Phil. You know.
I got to get it to him.
Yeah.
That Phil's amazing. Phil, we're thinking about you. You're in our prayers. I know he's going through a tough time right now.
Yeah, Phil, we're thinking about you, man, and praying for you and your family.
Dude, I can see that. I know we were talking about this in the green room before, and your catch ups are amazing. You're actually giving people a lot of choices here.
Yeah, I've got a lot of things here. So I got to like pick any 3 covers out of those 5. I threw a sketch cover on there because I thought, well, it'd be an easy way to get one single sketch cover,
right,
with some other covers, and then you don't have to buy the 3-pack.
I would love to see what artists are going to do with that blank cover.
Yeah, so if you have an artist that you would like their style and you really want it done, you can get anybody to do it, or if you'd like me to do one for you especially, you can get one of those. You can mail it to me. We'll, it'll be a small fee to get it done, but we have to mail it back forth and everything, and then but yeah, we can get that done. And then there's another tier where Joe Rubenstein signs his cover that he inked for me, which is the one with the car with the explosion. And there's an all-in 4-Speed Studios bundle.
That's a lot of books.
So you can get all 20. I think it's 20 books or something.
15 books.
15 books. You get all 15 books, all the covers, all the variants, and it's just a complete package. You don't have to worry about, well, what did I get? What did I not get? I got to scroll down through here. You can just click that one thing, and it gets you the whole bundle.
I like the fact that you got the blank cover, and then you got hey, you can do multiple blank covers.
Yeah, you get a pack of 5. I mean, I don't know. Phil says they usually do pretty well, so he says do a pack of 5. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good. So we went with it. And
here's what you were talking about.
Yeah, there's the legend Joe Rubenstein. He was the artist. He was the inker on the 1982 Wolverine miniseries.
Oh, definitely. We've interviewed him a couple times.
Yeah. So Frank Miller was the penciler, and I think he said he was up there at Marvel. Frank was up there, and he goes, "Joe, would you like to ink the book for me?" And he's like, "Sure." So I guess that's the way things worked back then, So, but that was one of my earliest books that I bought that I said, man, I got to hang on to this because it's just amazing. It was Frank's pencils and his inks, and I think that's a great combination.
It's funny. Sometimes we don't pay attention to all the stuff that's going on in the book. But without the team or without certain people, it would look totally different. Yeah,
exactly. And I think they work well together. And I was 12 years old when I bought that book. Those 3 issues, 4 issues. I think it was 3 issues.
It was a 4-issue limited series. Yeah, 4
issues. And but I didn't know that 40 years later I'd be working with him on a cover. It's just amazing.
Isn't it funny how life is?
It is. It's a small world. It really is. So yeah.
If you would have told Kid me that I would be hanging out with all these artists and writers that I was reading their comic books at that age, I would have told you you're crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just a great feeling, to work with him. He's kind of tuned me up on my inking skills and stuff. I got a ways to go, but hey, I mean,
but that's also good because it gives you like someone who actually can tell you what's going on with the inking. It gives you like a mentor. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so he's really good at that. He's kind of like a teacher. He'll tell you straight. It's like something's not right. He's gonna tell you. Why are you doing that again? I've only told you 1,000 times.
Yeah, that sounds like him. He's a straight shooter, man. He's gonna tell you. He's gonna let you have it.
That's good though. That's what I gotta have.
Sometimes that's what you need.
That's what I need. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, I really feel like you went out there to like make sure you had so many choices for people.
Yeah, so that was important to me. I thought, hey, if you're gonna do this, try to give everybody something, because everybody's got a different idea about what they might want to spend or what they might like. So I just try to cover all the bases, you know. But yeah, just give it a chance. I mean, if you don't know who I am, you've never read any of these books, give it a chance. You can always spend $6 on a PDF. You know,
That's true.
You don't have to spend a lot of money to get something here. You can spend $6, get the first issue. You know, or you can spend is it 18? You get all three. It's a PDF package. I think I have.
That's what you said. I think it was let's see. Let's go to the rewards.
Yeah, so it's like $18, I think, for issue 1, 2, and 3 of the PDF. So you just get a digital copy, and you don't have to pay for shipping. You got all 3 issues.
$10. $10 is pretty good for just the regular books.
Yeah, that's physical copy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right.
It's kind of hard to find, though, doesn't it?
Oh no, not really. You just got to go to where you got to go. Because it's all laid out. Like as soon as you're gonna hit it, but it's gonna take you a little bit to get there. $10. Call the room cover.
Yeah.
And like I said, I in the green room we were talking about this. I like the fact that you actually have your other issues, and it's not just one issue from the other issues. You actually have choices for those issues. You know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do, because I had the package in there, but when you buy the single issues, I want to say it's just the studio versions. Now I may be wrong. It seemed like there was a couple of different ones there.
Yeah, it looked like a couple of different ones were there.
yeah. So like those studio covers right there, that 3-pack. That's what I'm talking about. You get the 3 Studio A covers, you know, from issue 1, 2, and 3 for 18.
That's pretty decent. You get three books for $18 on the digital.
Yeah.
And I think on the if you want all 3, there you go, physical, $30.
Right. Which is not bad either. You know, you get 3 books, and you know, you can hold them in your hand. You can collect them. You know, obviously, but if you don't want to have stuff stacking up around the place, you can just get the PDF and for half the money, basically. So.
But what if I want to smell them?
Yeah, then you got to buy a book.
Exactly.
See, yeah. I just want to smell the Cold Kutter. I just want to smell it and gain all the knowledge and story just from the smell of it.
You should pack them with gunpowder smell.
Yes, I was fixing to say, if I could come up with Scratch and Sniff books, you know, you could have an explosion on there, and you have.
They do exist.
Do they really?
Yeah, they do.
I may have to do that. I may have to do that then. That'd be cool.
Dude, I opened up the box and it smelled like somebody was shot.
Yeah. So basically, the Cold Kutter story is a revenge tale. You know, so you know, Dylan Cutter was a partner with his brother, Dalton, and it was Cutter and Cutter is the name of their detective agency. And when you open up the first page and first issue, his brother Dalton's already been murdered. So he's at the really low point in his life, and he's trying to figure out, how am I going to get through this day? How am I going to get through the next few hours, you know? And then he comes under attack, and then he finds out that the guy who's trying to kill him now is the same guy who just murdered his brother. So they capture him, gets thrown in jail. Then he escapes immediately, and you know. He takes some hostages out to Liberty Island, and Triff happens to be the main one. So, you know, his love interest is Triff Austin. So she gets kidnapped, and that's where the adventure starts. And he's got to figure out, you know, how to stop these guys, and you know, who's behind this crook here that they put in jail and everything that murdered his brother. His name's Jabbo Jones, but there's bigger characters. They're shadier, more kingpin type characters that are propping him up. So they'll kind of make an appearance in issue 2. We'll start seeing some of the people that are behind that and the drug syndicate that he's up against. And he's basically all throughout issue 1 and 2. He's just reacting. He don't have time to investigate. He don't have time to be a detective. He's just reacting.
I gotta say, like, I feel like usually the whole thing is to start a little bit before this, and this will be your midpoint, and then you know you get to where you're going. But I feel like you started in the midpoint and said, "Look here, You're going to be thrown right into the middle of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you're going to, and I think I like the fact that it's a little different than the usual. Well, we'll start with getting to know the detective, and then this happens, and then this happens. But I feel like you're like, all right, we're going to get to know the detective because you're jumping into one of the worst parts of his life.
Right. You're just right in there, right on page one.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing is just building on, like, this event that already taken place. And now he's just reacting, like, they're going after him full blaze, and he's just reacting in issue 2. He's trying to, keep Triff safe. And then in issue 3, it continues. So there's a lot of action in issue number 3. It just kind of builds from 1 through 2 to 3, and then we're kind of seeing.
I've read 1 and 2, and you're completely right. 1 is a little smooth. 2 is like all hell's breaking loose, and I feel like 3 explodes.
Yeah. So that's the way it's set up, basically, and then going forward, we're gonna tie some things up into more details of who's behind all this and what's going on.
Phil says he's the number 1 backer.
He's the number 1. Thank you so much, Phil. Man, our hearts go out to you, man. We're praying for you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Phil. We are praying for you. Do what you need to do, guy. Take care of yourself.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, Phil's a great guy.
He sure is. He's a great friend of mine, and just a great guy. He'll help anybody.
Yeah. Give you his shirt off his back. Yep.
Exactly. Yep. That's right.
Oh man, I gotta say, dude, I really feel like you really went there. You figured out. Let's give the people what they want. Let's give the people choices. Let's give the people. Just look at these rewards. You really okay here. Look at this sketch art.
Yeah.
$50. That's like really cheap.
Yeah. That's 11 by 11 by. Well, no, it's 9 by 12 artwork and pen and ink. And I really feel like I did a pretty good job on there for $50. I mean, honestly, it's a pretty nice piece. And I got a couple more that he's already shown, but there's one that's 50. It's a little cut off in the graphic, but.
Well, we get the feel of it, it actually, you show enough, for the feeling of it to get through.
Yeah, that's probably my fault. I mean, I sent Phil all this stuff, and he did his best to work with my patchwork stuff I sent him. So it's hard to get everything sized perfectly, but yeah. So, and then his head's cut off in this one. This one's a really nice piece. I don't want to brag or anything. I really don't. But it is. I spent a lot of time on it, and I think anybody who gets this one is really going to be happy with this piece right here. It's only $60.
It is pretty decent, and I think I agree with you. They'll be really happy with what they get.
Thank you. Yeah. So I mean, that's yes, sir.
No, I was gonna say, like, look at these choices, man.
Yeah. So you get every cover there, all in 4-speed. That's everything we published so far. That's all 3 issues. Every cover. And eventually, after book 5 comes out, I'll probably do a trade paperback. But for now, we're going to concentrate on these books right here because I think given the variant covers and I'm trying not to flood it. I like doing a handful of variants. I don't like to do necessarily a whole lot of variants, but
I think it's doing pretty decent. It's a pretty good number.
It's up to whoever. Yeah, it's up to whoever. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with doing a lot of them. I mean, it's fine. But I have a small budget, so I'm just trying to work within what I can do. So.
You know how people are. More.
Yeah. So we're just trying to give everybody a different possible choice. So we got retailer packs. Where it's like multiple copies of everything.
You actually sold a couple of retail packs last time, right?
Yeah, we sold retailer packs on issue 1 and 2, and nice. I was surprised. I really didn't think that I would, but we actually sold a couple of those, and it's 5 copies of 5 issues. So I think the whole thing was. It's getting hard to do the math now, but it's a bunch of books. It's a bunch of books. It's it's like 70 books or something. So it's a good many books, and then they can put them on their shelves in their stores, and they can sell them online or on Whatnot, YouTube, whatever. I've seen a few going on YouTube that are signed. I sent some signed copies. With that with the retailer pack, I sign them. So if you're out there and you got a store and you're interested in that, I'll sign all the copies.
Well, that's a good thing, because some people like it signed, something, but I like the fact that you're giving them the choice. Do you want it signed?
Yeah.
Do you not want it signed?
Yeah. And they can obviously communicate that with me. If they just want 1 or 2 signed, we'll do that. But whatever they want.
So you've been doing the conventions. How's that been feeling now that you have 2 issues? Because I know when there's 1 issue, it's like 1 issue, and you're there going,
yeah.
But now you got 2 issues, so I feel like it's a little different, right?
That was the feel on the first book when I only had 1 book and I went to a convention. I was like, oh well, I've only got 1 book, and it's just 1 issue. I don't know how it's going to go. So I was like, it wasn't selling all that well. It'd do okay, but it wasn't knocking any records out. And I thought, well, I probably need to have at least 3 or 4 books to really get any traction, or even a complete story arc would be great. But I thought, well, at least when I have 2 books, then I'll have 2 books. So when I go back, it'll be better, So so we've had some decent reactions. We're not hitting any sales records, but I feel like the small shows are better for me. I could kind of, the table rates are less. My outlay is less.
Right.
I've done a show in Louisville. I've done one in. I was going to do one in Lexington, but that didn't. But we did one in Louisville, Kentucky. We did a few here in Georgia. We do some about every 3 months. Small show, and I'm meeting people.
That's the way to do it. I agree with you with the small shows. Sometimes it's better to go through the small shows, and it's easier. Because you're there, you're sitting there, hey, check out my book. In the bigger show, sometimes you get kind of lost in the luster.
Yeah, there's a lot of people at these big shows. You could kind of get lost in there.
Yeah.
So my goal this year was to do Lexington, which is a huge show. I mean, it's probably pretty close to like Dragon Con, but not with all the other stuff. It's a purely comic book show, but it's huge. So I was thinking, man, if I could get in there, but somehow I missed the email. It went to the spam folder. And then about 2 months later, I found it. And I'm sitting there going over trying to find a booth to rent, and they're all sold out. So I'm like, well, that's not going to work.
Yeah, well, if you don't get that stuff in the beginning, you kind of get lost, especially like these days. Because I feel like the conventions are selling out, especially for for vendors like this now.
Yeah, 2025, I'll probably hopefully make it to Lexington, and it'll be better because I'll have another book out, so I'll have 3.
I was going to say 3 issues is better than 2.
Yeah, exactly.
And 3 issues for you, that's what, 15 books.
Yeah. So it's like, it gives you more options, and of course, when you're at a convention, you walk
and the blank covers means you can actually do specialty covers for people.
Yes, so I bring those too. I have them sitting there too. So if somebody wants to sketch, I can pop a sketch on there for them while they stand there and watch me do it. So, and then of course sign the books too.
You're giving yourself, because especially when it comes to the shows, you want to give yourself stuff to do. You want to give the customers options, and sometimes they want a personalized cover,
Right, yeah. So that is the thing now. A lot of people like to sketch covers and to have an artist do that for them. So. And obviously, you can buy the book and have somebody else do it. So if you have a favorite artist of any kind, you can just have anybody do it. You can have your 5-year-old do something on there. Whatever.
Exactly. I'll be my stick figure detective.
Exactly. With a big magnifying glass.
Exactly. So you're already halfway there, or more than halfway there.
Yeah, looks like we're at 286. That's great. That's unbelievable.
So So you're a little bit more than 50%. Yeah, I think you're a little bit more than 50%.
Yeah. So we are getting there, folks. But man, let's ramp it up. Let's hit that goal tonight if possible.
Dude,
I
if
would
you
love
guys
that.
can get him done in an hour or two, that helps out the project because you get that funded in under an hour or funded in under 2 hours.
Yeah. So the only thing I don't have on this campaign is a stretch goal. So what I've decided to do, if we hit our funding goal, then I'm going to throw a stretch goal reward on that goal. Okay. So if it's 500, I'm going to have sticker, bookmark, or something. Everybody will get something.
I like incentives. I think that's where you should go. You go, all right, folks, let's get to 500, and then we'll do some stuff.
Right. So that's exactly what's on my mind. Is like we're going to do a stretch goal reward. So I'll have a sticker or a bookmark, and if we go above that, we'll say we hit another milestone like 1,000, we'll do another
Kickstarter.
goal. We'll do something else. So you'll get something with your books when you receive them. Of course, now the digital.
Say, your stickers were pretty great, because I got a couple of them from the last time, and yeah.
Thanks.
They're sticking, and pretty decent, man. They're really hardcore.
I had a couple of them printed, and that's the reason why they're not on the campaign. I didn't like the way they turned out, so I'm
okay.
I'm going to have to back up and look at some of those we did before, and then try to do something similar quality. I didn't like the quality.
Makes sense though, because sometimes stickers are just like things that fall. You're like,
yeah. I didn't want something that was flimsy and flim-flam, and then the print quality not good.
I have to say, if you got your stickers from the last time, and then you would have gotten those stickers, you would have been like, what happened?
Yeah,
these are good. What happened to these?
Right. So that's why I didn't put them on there. I don't even want to put them on there until I got it right. So I'll be working on that probably the next week or so. We'll try to get something done on that level. The stickers.
I think it's better this way because that means that it could be one of your stretch goals, like you said. And then you can give them something quality.
Yeah, exactly. I want to do quality. I want to do anything crappy. So, but see our books here. I don't know if you can see that. That's our first issue comic. It's really a thick cardstock. It's not a flim flam thin page. It's really a thick cardstock kind of paper.
I gotta say, it's great to be able to have a comic that isn't folding all over its.
Right. And then if you look at this one from issue 2, this is a sideways cover.
Yeah.
So I've always been particularly fond of these, the sideways covers, the format.
Right.
Because you can just do a really nice panoramic shot of something there. So that's also
really on there. I feel like it shows the scene. It shows the scene really well.
Yeah, and that's on number 2. So to get that one, I don't think that's the studio cover. You'd probably have to get like one of the packages or something, or you could DM me and say, "Hey, I want one of those."
I want one of those for my number.
I'll make it happen. I'll make it happen. Trust me. Yep.
There you go. Talk to Charles. Charles will make things happen. Come on, folks. Get up to 500. Charles will make things happen. Come on, folks.
That's it. Yeah, sure will.
That's what you want. You want somebody personable, somebody who's going to be going, support my Kickstarter, and stuff will happen for you.
Hey, that's what we're here for. We hope we can serve you in any way we can, as long as we hit that 500. But I do got to say, I got to really thank you too, Ref, for the last minute dive in here to help us out. It's just been a real lifesaver you have. It's really great that you've done this, and I could have changed the time and pushed it back a week or something, but since we'd already advertised it, I just really appreciate you helping us out.
I was sitting there going, this is all supposed to go on today. We can't. Sometimes we can't stop what happens.
Yeah, we can. Right.
We can only just go with the flow.
Right.
So we went with the flow, and we made this happen.
Yeah, and I could have pushed it back. I could have just just put an ad on the Facebook page and said, hey, we're going to cancel for now. We're going to postpone it or something and done it next week or something. But I figured, well, since everybody was kind of expecting it, we go ahead and try to roll if possible. And I really appreciate you doing that for us. It's really been a help.
It's like you're a detective. He rolls with the punches. Come on.
That's it. And guys, Raphael here, he is the voice behind Dylan Cutter. He's the voice on our trailer. So you're actually seeing him right here. He does a great job.
I had fun with it, and like I was telling you in the green room, I feel like now with the third issue, I kind of get the character a little bit more, and I can see that he, even if things are going not going his way, that he's more of a laid back kind of guy, and he's like, okay,
yeah,
this is happening.
Yeah, so you got a real feel for that. I noticed that when I got the voice back. I think you sent me like 2 different readings, and I was like, this one really is standing out more.
I sent you 2 out of the 100.
Yeah, if I try to do that, man, it's just not going to come out because my voice is going to start squeaking. I know I'm being recorded. It's just like doing these lives. I get a little nervous before I come on.
See, that's all part of it. You sit there like because then what part of it is you need to remember what the voice is, and then you need to remember how the character is. You need to remember what's going on with the character, what's he doing, what's happening. That's just one of those moments where you're like, okay, this is what's happening. This is how it has to sound. Like if I would have sent you some of the other ones.
You don't never know. I about would have liked them, but you probably had a good feel, I'm sure, for what. I mean,
I feel like when I first started, I was thinking back to issue 1 and 2, and he was a little more panicked. And then as I was doing the over and over, I was like, okay, let's relax a little bit. Let's relax the panic. Let's relax what's going on. And then I went too relaxed, but that was later on.
Yeah. So if you're watching a movie like a crime detective style movie, the way you did it's kind of like they would do if they were thinking to themselves.
Yeah.
It's kind of a really subdued voice, So that's the feel you put in that. It's like he's thinking to himself, and we're hearing that.
Exactly.
And that really is good. Yeah.
Because as soon as you sent me the script, I was like, okay, this feels. He doesn't. I don't think he's saying it. I think he's thinking it.
Yes.
And if he's thinking it, then that's a whole other feel.
And see, that's why I like using you because you already knew that. I didn't even tell you that. You just knew that. You got that ability to know that kind of stuff, and you didn't know what I had in the story for issue 3. You really didn't. You did. I just kind of sent
all
you.
I knew was it felt grave, and part of that was from reading issue 1 and 2.
Yeah,
and kind of figuring out that 3 has to be a high part in the story. So, like, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, just the way that turned out, it really helps. On this campaign, and it's a big help. It's a huge help. Like guys like you and Phil and Rob, my letterer Jason, and colorist Jesse and Joe. You can't do all this stuff by yourself. We got a team, and the team is on there. The team is on there. If you scroll down on the bottom, I
think people forget that it takes a team to do these comics. Because I feel like they kind of like I know when I was a kid, I wasn't thinking about the letterer, the inker. I wasn't thinking about any of those people.
You weren't? Okay.
No, I wasn't. I was not.
Really?
I was not thinking about any of those people.
No, I was looking at the credits, man. I was like, oh, that's that guy again. It must be great. Or that's that guy again.
I can't say that I stayed there my whole life because I kind of figured it out after a while. But in the beginning, I was like, I remember when I first like, what the hell's a letterer?
Yeah. Well, I was that way. Yeah, I was that way in the very beginning.
I was one guy doing everything.
Yeah, I was that way in the very beginning because I was so young. I had these Commandy books, by Jack Kirby. I didn't know what they were. I just started reading them. I was a little too young. I would have been better with Daffy Duck at that time. So I wasn't really reading them very much. I'd stick them back in the box like, I don't know.
But isn't that how it is? We got those books, and those books were we could read them, but they were a little bit above us. But at the same time, I like that because especially like with me, I was reading the Fantastic Four issues,
Yeah.
And they
Right.
had these words and a half, and
Yes.
I credit them, for making my vocabulary bigger, and at the same time, learning things with the comic.
Right. They were intelligent books. Now, this is some of the pages that the art pages from the story pages in the book right here. You're scrolling on. I think that's page 3 right there. So
Yeah,
this is kind of an example of what you'll find inside the book. It's a
it's
crime
done
noir.
really well.
It's a crime noir style rendering, and yeah, I'm trying to use more shadows and light in this book than I did in the first 2. So you're going to get more of a noir feel, especially throughout the middle part of the book.
I can tell, and I like telling artists this because it's important. You've actually, I can see the growth in this issue from the other 2 issues.
Thank you so much. That just means a lot because I've really worked hard to get this thing, to grow in my artwork, grow in my storytelling, the writing part as well, and to set up my camera angles, all that's important. Like this close up of this guy's face with those eyes,
I was going to tell you that I feel like the faces are more crisp.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the other 2 issues. I feel like in this issue, you're like, aha, here's the face.
I really struggle with rendering a lot over the last couple of years about how I would do it. There's so many ways to do it, like rendering faces and shadows. And I found this one artist from like way, 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 way back. Nobody remembers him probably. Frank Godwin.
Oh, I remember. Okay.
Does some beautiful work, man. I was just like, wow, this is how I need to do it. Not the same exact way, but it got me where I could understand.
This is your own. This is completely your own. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of got me where I could understand shadows and form. Basically, you got to put the 2 together. So.
Oh, see, look, here's your sketch stuff.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, you scroll down.
We got to remember that the ones I was showing before are the rewards, so it kind of brings it smaller, so you can actually digest everything. But here is the beautiful sketches that you can get, if you want.
Yeah, that's the one that was 60 over there. This is just basically showing you everything where you can see it, and the other part was actually where you go to pledge at.
Yeah,
that's why it's smaller. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the other one. I did that at a con. I was sitting there at Atlanta Comic Con. I drew that.
Oh, really, dude? I love your stuff, noir stuff, but I like noir, so.
Yeah.
I would love to see you do other noir characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think you'd have a nice beat on them.
That might be something in the cards for the future.
There you go.
Yeah. And of course, this book here, this is the cover. It's got a lot of rendering in it. It's like once I studied some things I could grasp, it's like it's just like a light came on, and I was able to do some stuff I couldn't do before. So,
speaking of teams, here we go. There's Charles W. Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
There's Mr. Joel Rubinstein.
Right. Legendary.
The legend. Here is Jason Meadows.
Yep, he's my letterer. Phil always calls him the Vulture, but I won't do that.
Yeah, we were talking about this from his book. He does look like the Vulture.
He kind of does. Yeah.
I would love to see him cosplay the Vulture.
Very cool. He's a good guy, and all these guys are great. I mean, they just deliver. Whenever I ask for something, it's just like boom. I mean, they don't mess around. Jesse Higgy, he's my colorist.
Dude, he does great with the colors. The colors on your book are just, they hit the right place.
Yeah, he's great. And this is Joe's colorist that he recommended me use on his cover that he inked for me. Elena Vargas. Yeah. She's in Mexico, so she does a great job.
She did a fantastic job. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we got Francisco there. We don't have a picture of him, but we do have a little bio on him. He lives in Rome.
Where's Francisco's picture?
Yeah, he's an Italian artist in Rome. I don't think he sent one, but it says he studied at the International School of Comics in Rome. Well known as comic book cover artist. Francisco's worked with major publishers in the industry, such as DC, Image, and Boom.
His cover is beautiful, as you can see, folks. And there you have it. There's the team. And you guys got to remember that comic books are based on teamwork.
Yes.
Yes, we're spoiled by Matter Sorcière, who does all the stuff herself, but she always says the same thing. She doesn't get paid enough to do what she's doing.
I tell you, that's the thing. It takes a team of people, and that's why we have to do a Kickstarter, because guys, it takes a lot to put these books together. It takes money to do it, and so really what we're trying to do is get enough interest by having this Kickstarter and this launch party, just get enough interest to have some people that say, hey, I like that. I think I might want that. So that helps us to keep this thing going, because if I have to pull it out of my pocket, I can't keep it going. So I'm just asking for your help. If we get to 500, that's great. But really, that just kind of gets us started, on what we spent and what we really need.
Like I tell you guys all the time, nobody's making any money off of Kickstarter unless you're one of the big companies.
Right. That's right. If you're a big company, you're probably knocking down 6 figures out there. But hey, we're just trying to get it off the ground, trying to keep it going.
The Kickstarter people are just trying to make the dream happen. They're trying to get the dream to be a reality, and you're helping them make this dream happen. That's what you're doing. You're putting money into creating dreams, to making dreams happen. When you help out a Kickstarter, you're helping make dreams come true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and hopefully we find some like-minded people who say, hey, I like that, because I can't find that out here now. I can't buy a book like that. So I'm like, wow, I'm hoping that's what we can connect with, is a fan base that says, hey, this is the kind of book I like.
Have you hit up some of the comic stores next to you?
I have sold quite a few in my local comic store. In fact, you hear about comic stores regressing, closing doors.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Because in my opinion, it's because a couple things, but they took comics out of the grocery stores, because when we were kids, mom and dad would go to the grocery store and we were bored out of our mind. So what did we do?
Took them out of the newsstand.
We walked over to the spinner rack, pulled some books off while they shopped. Said, man, this is exciting stuff. I want some of these. So that's how we found them. Kids today, mom's got to drive them across town, maybe to a seedy area of town, to a comic store, and they're just not doing. They're not going to do that, on a regular basis. So I think a lot of that's contributed to the fact that we don't have new, younger fans. There's a whole lot more out here that's gaining their attention and stuff. So, but my local comic shop has been great with us. They have brought my books in. They have tagged my books with a sign that says "Local Creator." I mean,
have you done signings at the comic stores?
Well, I'm sorry, what's that?
Have you done signings at the comic store?
I haven't done a signing yet, but he just expanded to another. He's got 2 stores. He's opening up. He had a soft opening Saturday. He's opening officially the second store, which is about 45 minutes from his first one. So, you hear about stores closing, not doing well. He's actually doing pretty well.
That's pretty good.
So
see if you can talk to him into doing a signing, because signings, I feel like the signings at comic book stores is a beautiful thing, because you actually, the audience gets to meet, the writers, the artists, and it kind of gets your book out there, especially because you're at the store and you can go, hey, buy my book.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm thinking about doing that. I just want to kind of wait till I had 2 or 3 books, and maybe it may be like a set that could actually have a special on that little set they could pick up that day. Sketch cover possibly or whatever. But it's just they're doing great. So if I could duplicate that success in a lot of stores around the country, obviously we wouldn't need to do a Kickstarter. But unless you got distribution, you can't get out there on a massive.
Oh, you can, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, you probably won't be sleeping. You'll be working on distribution all night.
Yeah, you'd be hitting those comic stores on your own, trying to get your books in there. Oh, man, that's a lot of work,
man. You'd be drawing all day and emailing stores all night and packaging up books. But hey, if that's what you're doing full time, that'd probably work out.
Tate agrees with us here. He goes, "Yep, grocery stores and mini marts were the places I got all my comics as a kid." And
you're right.
Yeah. I miss newsstands. I miss being able to go to the newsstand and pick up whatever comic I wanted to pick up.
Now imagine
I have to go to the comic store.
Yeah, now imagine if we lived in a world though where that was not available. We wouldn't even be doing this right here. We'd be like, "What's a comic book?"
My first comic book I bought at one of those discount stores. There was one of those multi-packs.
Yeah.
It was a Wonder Woman, a Superman, and something else. I can never remember what the other one was. But I remember the Wonder Woman and the Superman comic that were inside. It was 3 books.
That's because they probably had 3 in there. They always had 2 really good ones on the outside, sandwiched with one in the middle. Didn't have a cover, maybe, or maybe it was just an Archie or something.
I don't know, man. I don't remember. But if I wanted to go back to that, yeah, I started buying Archies at the supermarket. You know, the Archie Digest.
Yeah.
That was those would I have to say those were my first comic books.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I got the Archie Digest at the supermarket because they would be right there, and I'd be like, Mom.
Yeah. I used to buy them too. You know, Jughead, Archie, and all those. You know.
Oh my God, yeah.
They were good. They had a clean slate brand of books too. It was good. But yeah, it's just that's one of the problems that I believe is happening, because when you go in a comic store and you see customers in there buying stuff, they're about our age.
Yeah.
So 20 years from now, I don't know what's going to look like in the stores, you know.
Well, that's why comic stores have had to evolve, because they can't just stay comic stores. They have to be a community center now. You know, they have to they do, like I'm saying, get artists to come in or writers to come in, sign books. They have to do get D&D people to come in, have programs where you have kids make their own comics. You have to be bigger now than what you used to. Before, you just had to be a comic store. Now you have to be a community center.
Yeah, you got to have everything now just to survive, I guess. But but I will do a little shout out to my little nephew there, Maddox. He's about 7 or 8 years old. I'm guessing at his age. If I get it wrong, Maddox, I'm sorry, but he loves comics. You know, my brother-in-law tells me, hey, every time I go pick him up, it's like, can we go to a comic store? So he takes him to a comic store. Loves to do anything, you read comics and whatever. He likes to do, little short films and stuff, and he puts them on a YouTube channel that he's created. And, I mean, he's just amazing.
Here's a question for you. Since we're beginning to wrap things up. All right, so you're at Cold Kutter, and you're gonna do Cold Kutter 5. What are you doing after that? Are you gonna do a whole other Cold Kutter story, or are you gonna do something else?
I've got another genre of comic book in mind, science fiction, that may happen or may not. I might backtable it because I'm gonna have to do a lot of introspection, a lot of research. It'll be a whole different thing artistically. I heard Jim Starlin say, he was asked one time, why do you always do space opera, science fiction? Because I don't have to draw horses and trees. And I'm thinking, hey, you don't have to draw a horse and a tree. Yeah. But if I have to draw a horse and a tree, I can open my window and draw a tree. And I can probably Google the horse if I needed to. But when it draw all these spaceships like Jim does, where do you get that from? Right out of his imagination. It's just, he's an awesome artist and writer. But yeah, so that's what I'd have to do. I'd have to do a lot of design work, and so it may take longer for me to have the time to put all that together, to do it. But that's kind of what's on my mind. But I am going to do another Cold Kutter.
I figured, because this feels like a setup piece. It's like, this is Cold Kutter. This is why he is who he is. And now, I feel like the next one will actually be a mystery or a detective story.
Yeah, so there's a whole backstory to him that we're going to find out eventually. It'll be pretty shocking. I mean, we think we know who he is now, but we don't.
Tate's saying, it should be a hangout spot for young people. Yeah. We would keep them out of trouble and let them make friends and talk about stuff. Yeah, because technically speaking, when we were younger, that's what the comic store was. It was this place to go meet up with friends, go check out some comics, hang out for a while. Usually the comic book owner, the store owner, didn't mind us hanging out at the place. It was a safe space.
Yeah, you're right. So I was an adult before I went to my first comic store. Like, I was probably already married or something, because I grew up kind of out in the country where there wasn't comic stores. You had to go like an hour or more to one. So the spinner rack at the grocery store was my only way. And there was some small grocery stores that had like a big display, and the comics are down in the bottom.
Yeah. And
sometimes you'd get the books regularly, but if you really try to collect a series, you might not get one month. Like it would miss. It wouldn't,
you forget it. Yeah. Oh, the store, you just wouldn't get it. Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons they actually said, well, let's do direct market. Let's have comic stores, because then you'll be able to have a nice collectible comic in a bag, and they'll be there every month.
Yeah.
instead of like candy sticky stuff on the pages and they're bent because somebody went through them all before you got there. And so it's kind of a good idea on the surface, but over time it's not great for the industry, you know. So, but yeah, we're trying to change things though with all this Kickstarter and all these independent publishers. We're trying to get more stuff out, more choices out there.
Tate says the same for him. He didn't set foot into a comic store until his 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, same is true for me. And how many do we have around us, Ralph? Or rather, did?
Oh, we used to have like 5 comic stores in the area.
5.
Now we have
one that's quasi close.
Yeah, it's pretty far. It's pretty far.
Yeah, I thought it was just in my area. So like I would have to drive over an hour to go to
It's
any
not
other
that
store.
bad, but it's a good trip for us. Yeah.
So here you can't take a train. Everything's by car, you know.
Yeah, for us, we have to take a bus to
train
Royal
and
Caribbean.
a bus.
Yeah, you're right.
Unless you want to go to the one in Manhattan, but that's farther.
Oh no, 14th Street. Yeah, that's a trip and a half.
Oh, I'm not even thinking of 14th Street, man. I'm thinking of downtown.
47th Street.
So you're thinking about Forbidden? No, you're thinking about Midtown Comic.
Midtown, yeah,
downtown Manhattan. Okay.
Yeah.
2 stories even, man. We don't see stuff like that around here.
Oh, that one's not 2 stories. That one's 1.
2-story comic store. It's 2 stories.
Oh no. There's another one in Lower Manhattan.
47th Street.
Same store. But I know the one you're talking about. That's the one in mid Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's
way out there.
That's the one I've been to. So you know,
that's a great comic store. I like Midtown Comics. Yeah. I've been going there since I was a wee little guy.
Is that right? Well, that's awesome, man. That's awesome to know. I really loved it when I went in there. I was like, man, this is great. You know.
Let's see. When I first started, I didn't know there was comic stores next to me, so we were going to Midtown and Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
Then when I found those comic stores next to us, because there was way more of them back then, I was like, okay, I don't have to go all the way to the city. I can go a couple of blocks over.
You're talking about the one right off Crescent, right? Back when that existed?
I think I went to that one once or twice. The one I used to go to was the Web. No, wait. First I went to the store. And the store was on Jamaica. Yeah, I was on Jamaica in 76. And then I went to the Web, and that was a little farther down. And then I was at the Comic Den, and that was at Kew Gardens. And I'm not even talking about the other ones that I traveled a long distance to get to.
Yeah, so we lost a couple during COVID around here. It's like during COVID, it wiped a couple of them out. You know, that I used to go to for years. I mean, years. And this one, there was 2 locations at one time, like back in the 90s. Then they went back to 1 location, and then around 2021, they closed the doors. You know.
Yeah, some stores didn't make it out of the pandemic.
Yeah, it hit them hard. So it was a bad time. Really was. You know.
Royal Collectibles started just doing online sales, or
right.
Tell people this is what came in. What do you want us to hold? You know, they actually rolled with the punches.
Yeah, and it was kind of a curse and a blessing, because during that time is when I started kind of writing this stuff, because I had a lot of time here. You know, a lot of time not to be busy in life, just kind of be here and start thinking about, hey, what could I write? You know, so I started coming up with that story. You know, I had the story for years, kind of, you know, the basic idea, but I started putting it all together. So this kind of birthed out of that.
I got to say, I did a lot of writing during the pandemic as well. I got a lot of stuff that's in the pipes works. You know, the script to Hugbert was actually done during the pandemic, even though I had the story probably before that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. What comes next.
Well, I wish the best of luck to you on all you do.
I wish the best of luck to me too.
Yeah,
I'm happy you were able to do it. Son of Saint, how are you doing over there?
What's going on, Angel?
Let's show off the Cold Kutter one more time, and you can do your spiel so people can go check it out. Hold on, here, let's put it up there. Go, Mr. Cold Kutter, go.
Yeah. So what we got here? We got a crime noir thriller starring Dylan Cutter and Triff Austin. Dylan Cutter is in a partnership in a private investigator business with his brother. His brother got murdered, and that's what we see on the first page of issue 1. And by second, third page, he's being shot at because he's standing outside smoking a cigarette, and it's in the middle of the night. He gets shot at, attacked, and he captures the guy, and the police come on, and they find out it's the same guy that just murdered his brother. So he goes to jail, immediately escapes, and Triff gets taken hostage in a big deal that went down on Liberty Island. So you got to get that. You got to get that book if you haven't got it. So it's just a real good mystery. It's a real good action adventure, and then it leaves off with a cliffhanger where issue 2 picks up. So it's just a revenge tale where Dylan and his brother Dalton had busted Jabbo Jones's drug ring, and he just got it out for him. So we're seeing in book 1 and book 2 the effects of his revenge on them, and Dylan don't have much time to proactively investigate. He's basically just reacting. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff going down. And then issue 3, that's when we're launching now. You don't want to miss it. It's full of action. It's action packed. Picks up where story number 2 left off. Continues through, and we kind of see some things that that where we left off in book 2, it carries forward, and we'll see what happens to Triff there and Dylan. But there's some harrowing scenes in this book, a lot of action, a lot of characterization between book 1, book 2 and 3. So I hope you'll pick it up. I hope you'll give us a chance. And you may never heard of me, but I think you'll be happy with it. I think it's a book you don't want to miss. So definitely pledge on the campaign.
I completely agree, folks. You should go pick this up. Support the indie artists and writers, because that's the future of the comic industry. And it also forces Marvel and DC to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because if not, they're not going to do the right thing. Well, I've heard of you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I've heard of you too, by the way.
Oh my God, let's see. What else do we got here? All right, folks. Tomorrow, we will have the guys from Hit Point here, because we are about to go to Long Island Tabletop Game Expo this weekend, and they're going to be showing off their game there at the convention. And on Thursday, we're going to be helping them kick off their Kickstarter for Hit Point. And you guys can be right here with us again and kick off another Kickstarter.
Sounds good.
Dude,
this week is Kickstarter week.
Exactly. This card game looks fantastic. Those foil cards look beautiful. Folks, you want to get onto the ground on this Hit Point thing here. Go over there, sign up to get notified. That way you can get notified tomorrow. Well, notified Thursday when we go live with the whole thing here on Bit and Apple TV. And tomorrow you can find out more information, as the guys from Hit Point will be here talking about all the beautiful things with this beautiful game.
You mean they're going to be here not only tomorrow, but Thursday?
Yep, they're going to be here
possibly
tomorrow,
even Friday?
Thursday. Well, not Friday, but we're going to see them Saturday.
we can make a deal on Friday, Ralph.
I think he's going to be getting busy trying to set up for Saturday. He was already going, Ralph, can we do this on Thursday? Because I still have to set up for Saturday. I'm like, we can get this done. Don't worry about it.
You got a busy week, sounds like.
Shoo, yeah, this week is busy. Angel says, I need to hit all these Kickstarter folks up because they all need a cover from me. Dude, if you're looking for a beautiful cover, call Son of Saint. Commission him to do a cover. He does amazing work. Go check out the Son of Saint, and he will make your cover dreams reality.
I hear you.
Oh, and tomorrow we might have a certain Shadow Rabbit here hanging out with the rest of us because he's going to be at Long Island Tabletop Gaming Expo this weekend as well. So you can see Shadow Rabbit
about his new game, right?
Wait, Shadow Rabbit?
Of course, if he's going to be at a tabletop gaming convention, he's going to have a game, right?
He's gonna have the figures to the game because he can make you the figures.
I hear he has a coin game.
Most likely, because I have the coin he gave me. So let's see. It helps me decide things, for good or for evil.
Stay tuned.
And folks, make sure you guys are hitting Phil Russert up because his tragedy book is live right now. And this has a lot of beautiful art, a lot of beautiful things in it. You're going to want to get this book. This book is beautiful. It reminds me, it's those classic art books from the 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. You're paying a good amount for, but it's hardcover. It's beautiful. The art inside is beautiful. Dude, you guys got to go check this out. Go check out Phil Russert and Tragedy on Kickstarter.
Yes, absolutely. I've already pledged on one of those books. It's just a really high quality book. Love it.
Dude, I was there for the kickoff to that Kickstarter.
Yeah,
and he was like trying to hold the book up, and it was like,
I know. It's like, look at this book right here. It's like a coffee table edition.
He was opening it. He was like, what the heck? I was like, damn. And then every time he was holding it up, it was like, oh.
He's like, let me back up so you can get it all in. It's a beautiful book, though. It's 11 by 17. It's like the original size it was all drawn on.
Oh, definitely.
So that, to me, that's what makes it,
And remember, folks, what he's trying to do with this book is get Papa done. So, and he has a lot of grade A art on this Kickstarter. You want to get some beautiful art, this is the Kickstarter to do it in. And some of these names are huge. So, go over to that Kickstarter. You can pick yourself up some beautiful art for some good prices.
Yeah, absolutely.
And help him create Papa because, it's an amazing little book. I got a chance to read Papa, and I got to say, it tugs at the heart. It's a good family book. At the same time, I'm not going to spoil it, but this book is so much more than it is. You will not see coming what comes.
Right. It's totally different than what I expected.
Oh, it's totally.
I got to read the script and everything, but he kind of does a filler, just to see how things are, stuff. And I really appreciate him doing that. But yeah, great story, really is.
It is
great story. It's for a great cause,
It is. It definitely is. And you can help them out, especially if you go to the Tragedy Kickstarter and go check out that beautiful art book that he's showing off. And at the same time, remember, he's selling a lot of art in that Kickstarter. And those are some great prices. It's not the prices that it should be.
Right. That's right.
Checks in the mail, Ralph. You gotta love Son of Saint. So, folks, this weekend we will be at Long Island Tabletop and Gaming Expo. We will be there with the guys from Hit Point. They'll be showing off their game. And, dude, you guys got to check this game out. It is a beautiful pick up and go game. And it's just the beginning of what they're trying to accomplish. This is just a card game that's attached to the bigger game that they're trying to get out there. And believe me, you guys want to get in on this game because it's a card game and it's a role-playing game and it's so much more. Mr. Nat, do we got anything else?
Hyper Guys, Bad Bug Media, 10 days ago. Here Comes Calico has a issue 3 currently going on right now.
The manga, right?
Both allegedly.
I think it's volume 3 for the manga.
I read it. It sounds the same way how he did number 2.
If you like it, you'll like it. I gotta say that there's one book that if you like, somebody getting revenge on all the things that evil people do for on animals, this is the book right up your alley.
And that's it. until Thursday with Hit Point, and then that's it for the month.
Interesting. I thought there was other things happening.
No, I went through all the page. Nothing right now, unless they got it like hidden. I mean, Mata is still
Yeah, her book's not
Yeah.
coming, not getting ready. She does
And-
have her possession.
That one's finished, didn't it?
No, the possession service. Yeah, you're right. I think it did finish.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Bitsy Tandem's in the same state where
Well, that's
date's not
she's
set
going through her
either.
own things. Yeah, she's going through her own things, which is delaying her getting her Kickstarter going.
And those are the only two that I know that they were planned for this month but are currently being postponed. Anything else is hidden, as far as I'm aware.
There is this other thing. We're going to have them on the show soon. Let's see. Yep, it's also from Filbo Publishing. It's called The Madcaps. It's a D&D inspired book, and we're going to have him on the show to talk about this probably the end of the month, because I think this kicks off sometime next month or the beginning of the month. I think so. So The Madcaps, D&D. Of course, we're going down that D&D alley, so you guys might want to check this out.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been talking to him, and the whole idea sounds pretty good. And once we get him on the show and we get him to talk to you guys, we might even have him on as a guest host.
It'd be great. He'll keep it lively. Not that it's not, but he can add it.
Yeah, folks, we love having guest hosts because sometimes it makes the show even more fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. I think that is everything. Of course, one more time, just because we are here for our pal Charles. There we go. Hey, look, you're going up by $1 at a time.
Yeah, it's going up. I got 5 backers now. Come on, guys, we need about 10 backers tonight. 10.
Dude, I gotta say, folks, there's people doing a good service here. Sometimes you can't afford to do something, but you do $1. Anybody can afford $1.
Yeah,
you can actually co-pledge $1, and it actually helps out because the more backers the project has, the better it is. So even if you're doing $1, it actually helps it out. And hey, if you don't have the money right now, just share, people, share like the wind.
Right. Share it out on Facebook. Maybe that'll help. Anything you do helps. It really does.
So, folks, join us tomorrow. We'll be doing the written writ with our pals from Hit Point and some other guests or guest hosts or stuff like that. And what I'll do is I will leave you with this beautiful. Might as well do it from here. Let's see if it plays right.
Trying to survive in a world of urban crime is a task I would rather not have to deal with. As a private investigator, you make plenty of enemies along the way. After my brother Dalton was killed, I've come under attack, and to make matters worse, they're going after Triff. And I'll do whatever it takes to keep her safe. The crime syndicate has a head. I have to find out his identity before it's too late.
Come on, folks. You know you want it. Until next time.